Zoom and boom, everyone. It is good to be back on ATSD. After a long time, believe me, but it is Tuesday, December 17th. It is 5 o'clock on the East Coast. Let me be one of many to wish you Merry Christmas a week from tomorrow. So much going on. This has been a crazy month for sure. It has been wild. It has been loaded with a busy work schedule for me. It has been loaded with events out the yin yang. It has been absolutely crazy. It's been fraught with technical difficulties, which is why I made the decision yesterday to cancel the sports grind, because that was completely going up in smoke and I wasn't getting the viewer response that I wanted. So kind of transitioning to just scaling back just a little bit, not immensely, but I'm going to keep ATSD going. As I've said, I'm going to bring out more of the events coming in future months. For Tracking the Madness coming back next month, the NHL All-Star stream that I do, Super Bowl party stream in February, those are all coming. So those aren't going away. It's just going to be, again, more kind of off-the-cuff stuff so I don't have like overkill. So I don't have like intense burnout, because I've seen some other creators that are starting to scale things back because they're getting through fatigue. So I don't want that to happen to me, because I have a full-time job. I have, family to spend time with, friends, other things. I just don't want to get completely burned out. So please be understanding of that. Please. For those of you who are sticking around, thank you. I do really mean that very, very much. And I just try as best as I can to keep doing what I do and enjoying it. So that's why. But because there's a lot to get to with this episode. I've been wanting to do this episode for a long time, and things have been crazy with my work schedule and me having to do different things outside of this. This past week alone, I had 3 different events this past week. Like it was that loaded. I was in Indianapolis on the 7th with my buddy Appledash, you guys have seen before, for the Big Ten football championship. Then on Wednesday the 11th, I was in Whiting, as I mentioned before, for the Mascot Hall of Fame fundraiser, which was awesome. And then on the Friday after that, I was up in South Bend with my family to spend with them before they left for vacation during Christmas time. I went to the casino in South Bend for our yearly tradition. So it has been a whirlwind, to say the least. But we are here now, and we are going to talk. This is going to be, again, mainly a very much pony-centered episode. Because there's a lot of pony topics that I want to really talk about with this. I want to couple big things. Of course, I'll share more soapboxes from EQD. I'm always interested in reading these from Equestria Daily. At least the last couple weeks, I haven't really had a chance to read. So I want to read those and get my thoughts from those as well. So we'll dive into that. I didn't get a chance to do a couple things after Friendship is Magic ended, which is I want to dive into the my top 10 personal song list, my favorite songs from the show. I want to share those as well. My updated top 20 character rankings from the show. I want to mention that and talk about how much those characters meant to me throughout the show as well, and kind of how they've moved over time and whatnot, and how much of an impact they made on me personally. And of course, I want to share my thoughts on what's to come for Pony, and share my thoughts on Pony life when I first saw the trailer, my reaction to that, and now the recent developments with that. If you're not aware, recently Hasbro has pulled that trailer from its Facebook, from its website. So there's been a lot of theories going around as to, okay, why did that happen? Why would it be set to private? Why would that be the case? So there's a lot going on with that I will discuss as well. And if time permits, I don't want to go too deep into this. I want to at least go maybe hour and a half with this episode. I don't want to go any further than that. Also, I want to maybe share a quick fantasy football update as well with the Alley Gators as well, to talk about where we're going with that as well. But let's start with these soapboxes. I really want. I love reading these from Equestria Daily. I really like seeing what thoughts are on the fandom's mind. It's amazing that they're still pumping them out, even though the show has been over now for more than 2 months. There's still a lot going on with these. Oh, speaking of people putting out pony thoughts and pony content, I do want to say I am continuing to work on my second set of pony parodies. I am working on those as well. With the Wonderbolt set, I'm about 2/3 of the way now through writing them. I think I've like either 2 or 3 more left to write, and then I will get into the actual recording process. So. No, it's not a full-on fantasy stream. I'm just going to mention my team briefly at the end. It's not a full-on fantasy stream. Nope. Just going to mention my team briefly at the end. But I will, back to the parodies. I will work on those in a little bit. So as time goes on, I'll work on those and eventually put that out. So, all right. So let's dive into these. This was from 2 weeks ago. Oh, wow. So there hasn't really been one of these soapboxes here in a couple of weeks, actually. This is from December 3rd. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess I could take your fantasy question. Let's see. James White or Mike Boone to replace Dalvin Cook? Ooh. That's a really good question. Well, okay. Has Dalvin for sure been ruled out? Because I've seen conflicting things on that. I don't know if he's been ruled out entirely. Now, they were saying that I think Coach Zimmer said that he had been playing through the shoulder before. They didn't know how bad this one was. Now, if Cook is out for sure, I also have to watch the status of Alexander Madison, because Madison was also dealing with an ankle injury and he was out last week, but he might come back this week. So certainly Boone is a nice option, but there's a lot of uncertainty with him depending on Madison's health. Yeah, exactly. Since the Pats are playing Saturday, that's a good point. Personally, since there's that uncertainty with Boone, and since the Patriots are playing Saturday, I would go with the safer bet, and I would go with White. I would, because I think there's just, at this point in the season, you don't really want to have that uncertainty with any position, regardless. So yeah. So in that situation, because of that uncertainty, yeah, you're very welcome. I would go with James White. So yeah, thanks for the question. I appreciate that. Okay, so this was just from 2 weeks ago, actually, this soapbox. I'm surprised there haven't been any more since then. So headlines from this one. There won't be another show like MLP FIM. I think all the fandom can agree on that one. Spike and Flurry Heart. Oh, that's interesting. Derpy's relationship with the main 6. Ooh, okay. That's interesting. Is Gen 4.5 Pony Life butchering Pony too much? I think a lot of people would lean toward that. And the real villains of our world. Again, that's interesting as to who is referring to in our world. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, there won't be another show like FIM. One of the saddest things about MLP being over is that there won't be another show like it ever again. I realized that after the experience I had with another show recently for years, parallel to MLP, I followed the animated series Miraculous Ladybug. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of that one. I don't really watch it. I haven't really watched much Nickelodeon since the 90s, because that was when like Nickelodeon was like really good. So like once it became very like SpongeBob centric, like I really just stopped watching Nickelodeon. So I've kind of panned away from Nickelodeon ever since then. A show that I deeply enjoyed for the first 2 seasons, my hype crumbled up after the 3rd one. Again, I can say that with a lot of Nickelodeon shows in this day and age. One of the reasons MLP ended up my favorite animated series ever is that it wasn't afraid of making changes. Very true. That's a good point. The status quo was shaken multiple times in MLP, and aside of a few trippings, I think that means like inconsistency by the writers or messing up things that weren't canon. It managed to remain strong and consistent until the very end, thanks to that. I thought that with Miraculous could have been the same considering its standard schemes, but I was completely wrong. One of the most recent episodes, Chat Blanc, made me realize that the show will keep the same scheme until the very last episode, and this is not playing in favor of it, as the quality is starting to crumble down now, so I've quitted it for good. I think you mean just quit. You've quit it for good. This experience of mine with that show made me understand there won't be another show like MLP ever again, because producers are just scared to make changes to the shows they make, although they don't realize eventually their shows will suffer from those decisions. That's really sad. Yeah, I agree 100%. That's a great point. I can totally see that, kind of going back to in a way, I guess, to burnout, or in a way, if you try I forget the saying, but don't quote me on this, but it's like, if you do the same thing over and over again and expect the same result, that's called insanity. I think with some of these shows you're seeing, like they put out either the same story or the same content over and over again, and they don't do it in a different way. And I think what this person is trying to say is that, MLP, in a lot of ways, what FIM did was we would see a similar story or concept or character or what have you, but it would be spun in a different way or different direction, something, and to make the unpredictability factor kind of better. Now, there are some instances where they did fail in that, and those were episodes that I rated, a lot lower down the list because of that fact, that we had seen that same thing, played out, and it was really done the same way. But I agree in the sense that, sometimes they would take a situation they'd done before and do it either with different characters or in a completely different way with different twists that you really wouldn't expect. So, I agree with that, writer. I agree with a lot of that, if you want a show to be successful, then, you can't expect to do the same thing all the time and expect to, keep the show being strong, to keep your fan base that you've had. You need to do different things over time. And I think that's, again, one of the big reasons why FIM was able to go on for 9 seasons, not just because of the fan base, the diverse fan base that it developed, but because of the fact that it was able to, keep its viewers guessing, keep things differently, and introduce different characters and different styles and things. So 100% agree with that. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that opinion. Absolutely. Spike and Flurry Heart. Oh, Flare Gun 45. This one puts a lot of opinions on the soapboxes, so I like reading these. Spike's interactions with characters are usually pretty limited for some odd reason. And knowing that Spike is actually part of the Sparkle family, it just doesn't make sense. We don't see many episodes of him and the other Sparkles. One in particular, Flurry Heart. Yeah, that does kind of make sense, actually. That's a valid point. You'd think that maybe he'd be more excited to getting a little cousin or niece, depending on his position in the family. And his interaction with Flurry and a flurry of emotions were very limited. Spike was only there to help Twilight, not be the uncle figure that we'd think she'd really look up to. After all, and this is all in capital letters, he's the hero of the Crystal Empire. She's growing up in a place where everyone looks up to Spike. Would it be pretty likely that she'd actually look up to him as a mentor and an icon? I mean, think about this. Flurry's going to be the new leader of the Crystal Empire, and it probably won't be easy for her accepting the responsibility. No one ever idolizes to their parents. What inspires kids to reaching their goals is someone that is kind of out of reach, but gives a heavy influence on them. Auntie Twilight could think that she could be the icon Flurry needed, but it turns out it's Spike the Brave and Glorious that gives her the inspiration she needs to become the leader she's destined to be. Not just that, but has Spike ever had the thought of becoming a mentor figure to someone? That's a good thought. That's actually a really good thought. And we never really got to see that in the show. Has he ever thought of having a little buddy to share his influence on? Spike can sometimes have an ego, so I'm sure this is something he'd be thrilled to have. Another potential season 10 comic right here, yes. And further development for Spike's Crystal Empire arc as well as his family arc. It's a 2-in-1 deal. Brilliant. That's great. That's great from Flare Gun. That's really well done. I would love to see that in the season 10 comics for sure. It'd be nice for Spike to, considering now he's in kind of that double role, I should say. He's a royal and in a double role. as the royal ambassador to friendship, as a friendship ambassador, or no, royal advisor. I'm sorry, yeah, royal advisor is the role. Royal advisor and as an ambassador of friendship. So yeah, now that he's taking on this big role in Equestria, it would be nice to have him be a mentor for somebody. Absolutely, well done. That's a great. I would love to see that in the comics, and I hope we do. I think that would be great for Spike to do. Absolutely, Spike needs to be a leader after how far he's come, especially seeing what he was able to pull off in Sparkle 7. Yeah, that absolutely. I agree 100%. I'm on board with that completely, for sure. Like that, I do. That's a good one. All right, Derpy's relationship with the main six. No author in this one. Some of these you can remain anonymous. It's fine. Certain every pony's favorite gray-coated, yellow-maned Pegasus mare is well known by everyone in Ponyville. She probably went to summer flight camp in Cloudsdale along with Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash. And, well, yes, we probably know that because we saw her on the podium in the flashback scene with Rainbow Dash's parents, where she was up there with Spitfire and Soren and all of them and Lightning Dust on the stage. Yeah, so she had to have. The three of them moved to Ponyville together. Judging by the Friendship is Magic series, of the main six, Rarity and Rainbow Dash are the ones most annoyed with Derpy's clumsy ways. Yeah, can you really say? I mean, I don't. Annoyed is maybe kind of a harsh word. I don't know about annoyed. That seems kind of harsh. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm overthinking that, but I don't know if it's like annoyed. I don't know. Derpy probably gets along better with Pinkie Pie, who bakes her muffins. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Applejack, Twilight Sparkle, and Fluttershy probably get along well with Derpy too. Okay, so basically that's just a pretty short thought on it's just on what it says. Derpy's relationship with on how this person views Derpy's relationship with each of the main six characters. Yeah, that okay. I can sort of see where the writer's coming from. Especially with Pinkie Pie. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, but we really don't. Again, I'm probably overthinking this, but we really didn't get to see much interaction because Derpy was didn't really have a big a role as in a lot of episodes. We only got to see her at the foreground in a few of them, and mostly she was a background character, and so we really don't know what her interactions could have been with AJ or Twilight or Fluttershy. So that's probably assumed, but that would have been nice, I think, for her to have more interactions with the main six characters. It would have been nice for them to expound upon that. Granted, they couldn't have done that for every character, and Big Jim said as much. We can't close every story arc possible. That would just be too many. But that's what the comics are for. That's what fanfics are for. So that's what's probably going to come. So we'll see if that's explored further. But yeah, that's just a nice, I guess, synopsis of how this person views Derpy's relationship. So yeah, that's all right. Is Gen 4.5 Pony Life butchering Pony too much? Again, anonymous, but yeah, this one is I'm sure is definitely agreed to. Like a lot of other people feel this way. Gen 4.5 is very interesting based on the art style they'll be showing off with the chibi animation, as I'm sure you've seen, and it being very different from the one that kickstarted this fandom, what we know and love to this day, Generation 4. There's no doubt it is very different. However, when I first watched the trailer/toy commercial, I was extremely surprised on the more chibi style, and that'll be more based around Sugar Cube Corner than anywhere else in the show. I agree on that too. Hi, Jovi. Yes, it has been a while, but it's good to be back. Yeah, I was shocked that it was based on Sugar Cube Corner too, than anywhere else in the show, which may come as a shock as we may not be able to, when it premieres, to view the rest of Ponyville along with it. It is definitely interesting to see how this will act like the bread you fill up on before you're actually eating your main course, like the pre-Gen 5 that is. But how showy the format all is to concede its inspirations from, it seems to have exaggerated more of its modernization for the next decade than ever seen before by expressing its episodes revolving around Sugar Cube Corner are what modern kids can relate to. Yeah, that's definitely an interesting take. That's definitely a very interesting take on it as well. As a fandom, we can strive to make new creativities before the real Gen 5 takes place. Absolutely. And that's and that's what the fandom is going to do, and I guarantee it. I guarantee it's what the fandom is going to do, whether it be fan fiction, whether it be fan art, whether it be what the Twitter ponies are doing online, and in their stories, whatever it is, they're going to come up with so many different things before Gen 5 even kicks off. So yeah, and I applaud the fandom for continuing that creativity. Absolutely. So yeah, obviously there's a lot of debate regarding this, and whether it's positive or negative, and you can view what you will. I'm going to get more into it later on, but yeah, that's definitely a very interesting take on it for sure. The real villains of our world. Again, don't know if you refer to our world or the world in the show. Probably the world in the show, my guess. Yep, because there's a picture of T-Rex and Cozy, Chloe, and Chrysalis. As I've stated before, I would have loved to see Cozy, Chrysalis, and T-Rex reform, but that did not happen. See, I was always torn on that. Like, I don't know. I was always torn on whether or not they should have been reformed. If any of them I would have liked to see reformed, I would have liked actually to see probably Chrysalis, because she had come so close. She had come so close to being reformed. I think not once, but twice. Like, Starlight offered her the opportunity, and then in Frenemies, when they had the brief moment, she comes so close and didn't. So if anyone had, I would have liked it to be her, because I would like to see how she interacted with Thorax and the new Hive and all that. But no, she was unfortunately, she was just so blinded by her revenge and that desire to get revenge on Starlight and all of that it blinded her psyche. It made her nuts. It really did. It made her nuts. So I knew it wasn't going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen. I knew that T-Rex and Cozy were just so full bent on evil that I could never see either of them getting reformed. I didn't think that was going to happen for either of them, because they were so power hungry, literally. In T-Rex's case, literally. In Cozy's case, I think even more literally, when she got they got to try the bell and see how big she got and full of power, even though it was Discord's magic. Chaos magic, it was she still wanted it. So they were both way too power hungry. But why? What's going on here? As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure these three villains represent different aspects of evil of our world. Oh, that's an interesting take. Okay. Each of them represent a set of villain attributes that are present and make up the evil of our world. Cozy Glow represents the psychopaths and the sociopaths. Chrysalis represents the racists, the nationalists, and all groups that can be broadly categorized as the tribalists. T-Rex represents the greedy, the power-hungry politicians, and rich people who exploit the poor. Wow. Okay, that's really going deep. As you may or may not know, all of these kinds of people actually hold some positions of power in our world. I will agree with that. That is true. Yes, it is a fact that our world is already ruled by evil, and it's up to people at the bottom to rise up and fight off these diseases of our society. It has always been the case that the weak and many who always had little power but numbers fought off any way they could the few and the wicked and the corrupt who held power and used it for their own gain. It is still an ongoing battle, by the way, and unlike the end of MLP, we still have to get our victory over evil. The show did its best to show us ways to achieve that. Also, one side note that is very relevant here. I've noticed almost everyone who has one or more of those negative traits that I talked about hates or can't stand watching MLP for some reason. I wonder why. That's really deep. I don't know where to go with that one. That might not be best not to touch with even a 39.5-foot pole, because yikes, that is really, really deep. The show did its best to show us ways to achieve victory over evil. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know. Not realistically anyway. I don't know. That's going a little deep. Next. I ain't touching that one. That one's really deep. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see. Okay, here we go. This one doesn't have as many. All right. Headlines in this one. If you want this fandom to survive, you need to spread it. I think that's obvious. The pillars shouldn't have turned and stayed. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess I can see someone making a case in that, considering how easily they were defeated by the terrible trio. I can understand that. I guess I can understand that point. Pony should be seen driving more. Okay. That one piques my interest the most. Okay. And are the cat-like qualities of ponies why we like them? Okay, the last two definitely piqued my interest the most. Cat-like quality. Wow. Okay. See, this is why I like these, because some of these really either go deep, make you think, or they go off in a completely different direction you never even expected. So, all right, and it starts right away with that one. Are the cat-like qualities of ponies why we like them? By Corey. Not sure. I butchered your screen name. Sorry. I really think Lauren Faust took inspiration from cats when she created her generation of ponies. Their short snouts and overall head shape are very cat-like. Okay, I guess I can sort of see that. The tails are always hiked up and out of the way, something any cat owner will say is a common theme, and they act more catty than horsey generally, aside from the occasional horse noise. I don't think we'd like them as much if they were closer to horses. At the moment, we just have horse accessories, words, and hooves as their horsey features. Magna Luna regularly draws them as cats, don't know who that is, and most people don't even notice the difference until they see the paws. Okay, yeah, that's... I guess in that sense, in terms of the qualities, yeah, I guess I can sort of see that, but I don't know. I don't fully see it. Maybe only a little bit, but not immensely. That's not why I like them. I think it's more their personality, but I don't think it's the qualities. I certainly never heard one of them purring, so that'd be kind of odd if that were the case. If you want this fandom to survive, you need to spread it. By Plaxi. I watch doom and gloom take over in a few chat rooms I'm in, and it's driving me mad how little anyone ever actually does anything about it. Are things slowing down now the show is over? Of course. We don't have any new episodes getting people excited, and this makes kids and others that would get into it and be the next general creator. I think it means next generation of creators not get involved. If you want this fandom to survive, you need to spread the fan base to places that new people getting into the show would notice it. Post links to things you like on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everything else. We spread by being everywhere, and being everywhere is what we do best. This site in particular is really good about indoctrinating people into what is available. I agree. Get people involved, we're going to slowly lose people that create things over time as they stop getting feedback. Lots of people I spend time with are becoming saddened by the lack of comments on their work. And new people won't have anyone to turn to for the same kind of reactions everyone else used to get. Yeah, I agree completely. And actually, I will state this for the record. Like, there are so many, like, even Twitter accounts that actually will, like, post. Like, they're just accounts for, like Hourly Pony, post a picture from an episode, like, every hour on the hour. Or ponies out of context, or what have you, or anything. There are tons of accounts out there that keep it going. Of course, the Twitter ponies is just a great example of something that just keeps making their own stories as they go along. Now, granted, a lot of it is based off of what already happened in the show, but they're just expounding on it and they're creating more adventures and stories. So yeah, there are tons of stuff guaranteed on social media that are going to be the driving force to keep the fandom going. And that's right. We can only keep it alive if we keep, spreading it around and keep, pushing, the content that we're making and everything like that. So yeah, 100% agree. Absolutely. If we want this to keep going, we got to keep creating, and we got to keep putting out stuff, and we got to keep, spreading it around. Absolutely. 100% agree. Yep. Because that's the only way, if you don't want it to die off, you got to keep putting it out there. So 100% agree. The Pillars shouldn't have returned and stayed. Oh, here's Flare Gun 45 again. Because again, I think he, whoever this person is, he or she makes some of the best stuff. So yeah, here we go. This is probably going to get deep too. With the Pillars story in the second half of season 7, I thought it was an interesting story opportunity. However, I don't think this story arc was executed well, and it feels like their arc was a waste. I understand them being the reason why the Tree of Harmony exists and how the elements are reflections of their own pillar magic, but were they really needed? The comics did a better job with the Pillars than the show did. Oh, that's interesting to note. Campfire Tales felt so rushed. It did. Looking back on that episode, yeah, it really did. They really seemed to rush those stories. That's a great point. I agree with that. They did. We didn't get a good chance to learn enough about each pillar. Yep. This should have been a full season thing instead of just the second half. We would have had more of a chance to get to know them. At least Daring Dunn and a health of information used to their lore to reflect on the main story, and that was the best way to do it. Then, of course, the season 7 finale came around, Stygian got reformed, and then they stayed, but they never had a major role in a story arc again. Right. All we got is Friendship University, blech, Rockhoof and A Hard Place, which was actually a really good one. And then Starsworld cameos here and there. And then they went out like weaklings in the series finale. Yes. Why did they stay in the present time again? Feels like they didn't need to. Plus, even if Starsworld was around, he never even tried to find Scorpion and bring him into the show. Scorpion at least had more reason to show up in the Pillars. Sometimes legends need to stay legends. Even if they turn up temporarily, staying was a bad idea. They were easily replaced by the Student 6 anyhow. Well, yeah. As bad as it makes me feel, yeah, I guess I can understand that. Maybe the legend should have been spirits helping to defeat the Pony of Shadows and help their souls be at ease by restoring their friendship. Then they can rest in peace. That sounds like a better story for the season 7 finale. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can understand where that's coming from. Yeah, I can sort of see that. And we never got to see Stygian again either. We hear about what he's doing, but we didn't actually never get to see Stygian either. So, yeah, the fact that they were so little used. Yeah, that it was unfortunate. It was unfortunate when they went out in the finale. That was disappointing. You hype them up, and it's like, and then they're just throw away. It's like, yeah. I can totally relate to that. I can understand that take. I get it. It's tough, but that a lot of that is very, very true. I agree with that. Yeah, I agree completely. All right, this last one. Ponies should be seen driving more. In my opinion, I think that the whimsical and unique world of Equestria may not be modern enough. They may have it all with their houses, bakeries, and wagons even, but why not a car? We've all seen Babs drive that crazy apple wagon in the season 3 episode. One bad apple, but that is only the very tip of the iceberg when it came to what it seems as close as we can get to ponies actually being able to drive a car. Oh, yeah. Come to think of it, their lives have made more convenient, albeit more polluted, of course, but the Brewers can provide more regulation. For instance, like London has their congestion charge. Princess Twilight could impose that on the very city itself, the Canner Lot, and even Manhattan and Las Pegasus. Yes, I know what you are thinking. We live in absurd times. With the advent of hybrid and all-electric vehicles, the pony world could suffice with automobile travel as well, not just with the Phantom to be way cooler, but far more imposing to see and view in any capacity. Heck, imagine Sweetie Belle with a BMW i8. Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, it would definitely look cool. I'm not going to dispute that it wouldn't look cooler. It totally would. I'm not disputing that at all, but it would, I don't know, to me it would be odd. Like it would definitely be, it would be odd. I mean, Trixie's able to move her wagon around, like, so that, and I don't know. That would be, I don't know. That'd be tough. That'd be tough for me to get used to. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. All right. Let's see. I think there's one more I haven't seen yet. Yeah, there's one more. Yeah, there's one more I haven't seen yet. So let's do one more real quick. Then I'll talk about Pony Life. We'll go into Pony Life next. Because actually, this soapbox actually talks about Pony Life also. So, all right. So this one, Pony Life is the Pokemon Sword and Shield of our fandom. Again, I don't have a Nintendo. I don't play the Pokemon games. I don't play Sword and Shield, so I don't really know how that connects. But we'll see when I read it. Please shower before dances at conventions. As if we have to put that in a soapbox. I would think that'd be a common sense thing. Heck, I even did that when I went to the Grand Galloping Gala last year at Winnie City. I would think that'd be common sense, but whatever. Okay. Is Discord actually Grogar? Now, why are we bringing that back up? What? We all saw it in the finale. Like, what? Okay, that's interesting. And everyone's a critic, and most of them suck at it. Okay, these are all of these are really deep. This is a really deep one. Okay, whoo, buckle in for this one. All right, this is getting really deep. All right, Pony Life is the Pokemon Sword and Shield of our fandom by Oralvin. Sometimes things just don't go your way. In the corporate world, poor story decisions are made for the sake of money. Yeah. And in Hasbro's case, they need to focus on what benefits the bottom line the most. Pokemon recently did the same thing. These kid-focused brands are always shifting audience every year as kids grow into older age categories on one end of the age scale and out of the child stage on the other end. Both Pokemon and Hasbro want those newer generations. On one side, Pokemon simplified everything to make it easily accessible and ditch most of the Pokemon to not overwhelm kids just getting into the games. On Hasbro's end, they needed a quickie with a very kid-attractive style to keep them entertained. Okay, I can sort of see the connection here, yeah. As much as bronies don't like Pony Life, it's pretty par for the course in kids' entertainment style these days. 8-year-old, you probably would have been fine with it. Yeah, okay. I sort of see where this person is coming from. I get this. I get this, you know. It's about the bottom line. It's about making money. It's about, dare I use the P word, placeholder. I feel that's kind of what Pony Life is in a way until Gen 5 comes around. And I think maybe, I hope not the only one that maybe feels that way. But yeah, like you got to have something to fill in the gap. So here you go. I don't know. So yeah, I can understand where they're coming from with that. I can understand it. Please shower before dances at conventions by Annan. I am an avid brony convention goer, avid in all caps, and absolutely sick, all caps, of how sick it makes me to walk by or attend the dances at night. Come on, guys. This is common sense. He puts it even right in the soapbox. This is common sense. If you walked around all day and got sweaty, take a shower before you go essentially work out. No one wants to smell that crap, and it goes all the way out into the hallway, so you can't even avoid it if you are just walking by. I've stopped attending dances altogether due to the rampant BO. Nothing gives our fandom an ugly image more than the lack of cleanliness. Take a shower and use soap/deodorant. Thank you. The fact that you have to put common sense in one of these soapboxes is brilliant. It is. I have never actually had an experience that bad at Winnie City. I will say for the record, I have not had that. Anytime I went to the gala or to the baseball concert, anything, that has never been an issue. So I don't know where this particular individual has gone to brony conventions, maybe the bigger ones like BronyCon or Everfree Northwest or what have you. But I have not had that problem at Winnie City. I'm just going to state that for the record. So I have never had that problem. So I don't know. Maybe that's just better at doing. I don't know. I don't want to get into full on detail, but I am common sense. I am at least respectful of that. I definitely clean up nice before I go, knowing that I'm going to be dancing on the dance floor. I clean up nice before I go to the gala. So yeah, take that person's comments to heart. Yeah, please do that. We don't want to look bad as a fandom by that. No, common sense. Well said. Shame has to be put in the soapbox, but well said. How I should have guessed this was Flare Gun. With is Discord actually Grogar? Flare Gun makes me think the most. Like this is Is Discord actually Grogar? I know what you're thinking about with the title. Discord was Grogar in the finale. That was my immediate first thought, Flare Gun. I don't mean it like that. I mean, could Discord and Grogar actually be the same person? Think about it like this. We don't know what happened to Grogar, and we don't know where Discord came from, and they're basically equally as powerful, and they both have similar colored eyes. Just Grogar is a little more faded. Oh, yeah, that is true. I mean, I don't know if I can put this picture up and show you, but if you look kind of close, yeah, I can see his point. Grogar is also a being of chaos, much like Discord, only Discord's chaos is playful, while Grogar's is more about destruction. Discord also apparently knows Grogar pretty well, like he knows where his bell is, and if that's his personality, then he played his role pretty spot on. There are those that believe Grogar made Discord, and in a way they might be correct, but not in the way they think. Let's say Grogar just lost to Gusty the Great, and now he starts experimenting on ways to get his bell back or to find an alternate source of power. But then it turns out he made a portal into the Chaos Dimension and got trapped there for many years, and then he started to change both his looks and his personality till it became a permanent part of him. Grogar's dead and gets reborn as Discord. He finds his way out of the Chaos Dimension and starts spreading chaos around Equestria, but in a different way till he found friendship. That's not that all that far-fetched. The Flare Gun, you are just brilliant at these. Like that is not too far-fetched in the slightest. If that is the case, that would definitely be a great explanation for why that twist happened in the finale. Because, and I've seen so many other reviewers mention this, how it just came out of left field, no explanation given, all this hype built up for Grogar, and then to find out that it's Discord. Everyone hated that twist. I'm sure that's probably the reason why Big Jim got death threats over it. Granted, again, still not cool, but that's probably the reasoning for it. But if that was the reason, then that would be a great explanation as to why that was the case. So Flare Gun really makes me think on these. Like he has some really, really interesting theories and points on a lot of things from the show. So I look forward, when I see these soapboxes, I look forward to reading his or hers, because I don't want to be gender specific, but I keep looking out for these because this person has a clear, very, very knowledgeable thought process on what's going on. Wow, that blows my mind. That would totally, if that were the case, that would totally make up for the whole thing coming out of left field and being a surprise. Wow. That's a good thought. That is a really, really good thought. That is a really good thought. Finally, the last one. Everyone's a critic and most of them suck at it. Here we go. There's this silent assumption among modern media consumers that critics are, by default, smarter than the media they're criticizing. It's an unfortunate symptom of the otherwise wonderful freedom of communication offered to us by the internet, that anyone can offer their opinion and communicate directly, or at the very least be heard by the creators of what we consume. We can help mold our entertainment into something more refined and palatable by a wise and well-worded suggestion. Too bad most critics serve the legion of Baroness von Buzzkill. That's funny. And many of them populate this website's comment section. After going through 9 years of fandom drama, many critiques amount to white noise, accusing someone of not understanding a character in the way a religious individual accuses someone of not understanding a biblical character. The same words and phrases are passed around like toothpicks. contrived, out of character. Well, I will admit I did use out of character a lot in season 9 because there were plenty of instances where characters did act out of character. Ruined. I don't think I ever said ruined. The writers. Yeah, I will admit that I blame the writers a lot for not sometimes getting into it, a new writer getting an episode and not linking it to previous episodes where their continuity is off. Yes. Nostalgic wanking over previous seasons. Anyone who can't see things from their oh-so-enlightened perspective is the loser. Why is anyone supposed to be okay with these mean-spirited ramblings? I'm certainly not. This is why God made block buttons. If you suck at being a critic, don't do it. Keep your comments in your pocket. Go make a 2-hour-long clickbait video essay or something. Okay. Again, that's delving very, very deep into things. I've always been of the belief that I think everyone is entitled to their opinions. I think, people can think what they want to think. That's totally fine. I appreciate debate in a spirited context, but when it starts turning into attacking people, that's what the block button is for. And you start, actually going after that person and their character. Yeah, that's when you use the block. You can have a discussion, you can have a debate, you can have an opinion about things, but when it starts turning into vitriol for the people behind that opinion, then yeah, that's when I say, no, I'm not having that. So yeah, I get it. I get that people don't like reading critics, especially if it doesn't jive with what they believe and their opinion and their thought. But that's the way that they see situations. That's the way that they see things. That's the way they view it under their microscope, under their perspective. And everyone's is different, and that's fine. Everyone's is so different, and is it a problem that's flooding Equestria Daily's comment section? Maybe if it's too prevalent, then okay. But everyone has those thoughts, but don't go after the people. That's taken a little too far. I don't jive with that. No. I don't agree with that much. That's taking it just a little too far. What you're saying, people can't speak out? Like people can, like, you're essentially that individual saying that people should be silenced. Like, no, they shouldn't be silenced. There's free speech in this country. They have a right to say, to their opinion. They can speak out about it if they freely choose. What then I guess to say to that person is, it's your choice if you want to A, listen to it, or B, to then not have your perspective changed by their perspective. So, that there's two ways of looking at it. You can be the mean troll and say, no, you're wrong, I don't agree with you. Or you can just ignore it and say, okay, I don't believe what they say. I don't agree with what they say. I don't agree with their opinion. And I'm just gonna, it's not my place. I'm just gonna back off. I'm gonna, ignore it, and I'm gonna be the bigger person. And I'm not gonna, I don't have to agree with it. So I'm not gonna get into a war with them. It always blows my mind that there are people out there on the internet that want to get into a Twitter war or a Facebook war or a Equestria Daily comment war, what have you. What benefit is that to anybody? Seriously, what benefit is that? Because it's this battle of, I have to be right. I have to have the last word. I have to have the final say. Why can't you just both have an opinion? Why, what benefit is it? There's never going to be a right, because you both have a different opinion. There's not one perfect answer to a lot of scenarios regarding anything, whether it's a show or an episode or a character. As I said in my panel with changing character perspectives, we're always going to have these different perspectives on things. So what sense does it make to have a war of who's right? let's just have a debate with different opinions and respect those opinions and respect the individuals with those opinions. Nobody wins. There is no winner. You think you're going to win by proving that you're right? No, there is no winner. Nobody wins in that moment. So don't tell people that they can't be critical, because all that does, all you're trying to do is A, you're being a troll, and B, you're trying to silence people. So yeah, that doesn't jive with me. I don't think that's right. I don't like it when people tell people to be silent on anything. It doesn't matter. So no, that to me, that I don't agree with that, and I will never ever vouch for that. I don't like that at all. Does not work with me. Okay, so moving on from that, as crazy of a transition it is to go from that, let's talk about something that were mentioned on both those soapboxes, and talk about Pony Life for a bit. When I first saw the trailer announcement, when I first saw the Pony Life announcement, I knew, okay, here's one thing I knew right away. I knew it was not Gen 5. Like I knew that right away, because I would have been totally like blown away if it was, because I mean, yes, it's still our main 6, and it's still the same voice actresses, even though it's a different style of animation and a different location, I guess, in a way, is the focus of the show. But considering what we have at least rumored or heard about Gen 5, I didn't think it was going to stay in that direction, with that, going that way. So I kind of knew it was like I said, a placeholder, a filler, just something to tide the fandom over until the new movie comes out and until Gen 5 comes out. So that's the way I viewed this right away. With that being said, the animation style is definitely something, if it stays the way it is. Now, as I mentioned, earlier, there's been obviously, recently Hasbro dropped the trailer completely from its Facebook page. They set it to private on their YouTube channel. It is like you can no longer find it. Like, it is gone. So it really, that then leads to a ton of theories. Like, okay, are they going to rework it because of the fan outcry? Are they, or the fan talking about it? Are they going to change it up completely? Are they going to scrap the project altogether? There's been numerous talkings about this. And now, and I've always said, and I will maintain this, I am willing to give anything after Gen 4 a fair shot. And I said the same as much when I saw the Pony Life trailer. Granted, the only thing that took me back, that took me back was that you have the pony characters mouthing the word hell. That was really the only weird thing. That song for that trailer, I was like, it doesn't, to me, it's like, I don't know if that meshes really well. I don't know. It kind of threw me for a loop. But now the toys looked good. I will say that the toy line looks great. But then you see the designs in this chibi style animation, and I'm like, it didn't look good. I had my reservations, but when I read that they were going to still use the same voice actresses, I was glad for that. They were not changing them in that regard. The story, like, is definitely very different, and I get that. With Pinky, I guess, being at kind of the I guess, quote unquote, focus of it, in a way, with it being at Sugar Cube Corner, and then making these desserts for her friends, and then these potions get involved, and to do different things. I guess it's more of a, again, I think the word has been thrown around, like it's more of a slice of life than the more like adventure that we were used to in the show in Gen 4. So it's more slice of life stuff. So I guess in a way that sort of makes sense. It's just very different. And really, after you're used to something for 9 years, 9 seasons, anything different is going to be hard to adjust to. But I think a lot of the fandom just looked at this and thought, is that really going to be, what's next before, I think the rest of the fandom felt the same way. Like they knew this wasn't Gen 5. They knew this was just kind of a spin-off, a placeholder, a filler until the real thing came out. So that, but I didn't understand, like, I mean, yeah, you can have your reservation, but like you put all the negative outcry in it without even seeing an episode or giving it its fair shot. I don't know about that. Obviously, yeah, you can think that the anime style, I don't like it or what have you, but writing it off like right away without even doing a single episode, excuse me, I don't know. But now that we know that Hasbro has removed the trailer, set it to private, taken it off, and maybe now the future is a little uncertain here. Is this project still on track, or are they taking it in a different direction, or like I said, or are they just scrapping it and doing something new? Time will tell. Obviously, since now since we can't see it and we don't know now what's going on, time will tell. Time will tell what's going to happen next. So and if they don't push forward with it, I was at least willing to give it a shot. I'm willing to give anything a shot and it's fair shake. I don't want to be too judgmental. So I'm willing to give it, to give whatever comes out, it's fair shot. Obviously, I'm going to have thoughts on it, but I'm willing to give it a watch regardless. And I was willing to give this a chance at the bare minimum to see what would come of it. But it looks to me like by doing this, Hasbro is responding to the feedback of the fandom, and it's looking like either it's going to scrap it and start over, or go in a different direction, or something different entirely. And again, time will tell which one of those scenarios turns out to be the right one. All right. Moving on now. Let's do some rankings. Let me share my thoughts on a couple just again, more of a retrospective. I didn't get really a chance to do when the finale originally aired or after the fact. I wanted to do these lists as well. So my top 10 songs from MLPFIM. Daniel Ingram, again, I give major kudos to him. He and his team did an outstanding job with the songs and the music for the show. It was absolutely incredible. I wish I would have gotten to meet him at a convention. Maybe I still will. So who knows? Maybe time will tell the future of Windy City. Who knows? But these ones, in my opinion, are the top 10. And I'm also going to do, of course, my updated list of character rankings. Again, my personal list. Nothing influenced by that. Just how I feel about each one as well. So top 10 songs. This is over the whole course of the show. This is not just one season. This is over the course of the entire show. And this is my own personal list. Number 10, Winter Wrap Up. I mean, that song is one of the very few first in the show. It's extremely catchy. If you're not bouncing along when that comes on, like you need to check your pulse, because that is just so catchy, bouncy all the way through the song. It makes you smile. Like it's just all these songs. I mean, granted, all these songs in the top 10 make me smile or get emotional or what have you. Whenever they come on, I sing them out loud. But that one, in terms of the early part of the show, that's one you don't forget. That's memorable. And even as the story's playing out on screen, where Twilight has to think about how can I not use my magic and be part of what's going on. even as she's focused on that, the story is still going on around it, and everyone's getting all excited. So, yeah, great song, great visual, love it. Number 9, You're in My Head Like a Catchy Song from Perfect Pair. I mean, hits me in the feels every single time. Even when they had a marathon earlier this year and they showed that, it's like, oh, that's coming flooding back, those memories. So good. Just the chemistry between Bright Mac and Pear Butter's characters and the way they were portrayed brilliantly by Bill Newton and Felicia Day. And just the dynamic as the song went along, and just the lyrics, it was just, and as they interact with each other, it was brilliant throughout. Got me every time. So good. Love it. Number 8, Open Up Your Eyes from the My Little Pony movie. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. One of the best villain songs ever, if not the best in the show. At least, well, not in terms of the show, but at least the movies themselves, at least it's Gatsby. Like I cannot tell you how many times that song is done during the My Little Pony karaoke at Winnie City. Like, it is one of the most popular songs. Like a ton of people, and there's even complaints. Like true story, Apple Dash did it at karaoke last year, earlier this year at Winnie City in April. And then the whole room moaned and went, again. Like it is done so many times, but it's such a good song. Like, it's in your face. It's it's Tempest, like, get in my face, like seeing the world, from where I'm at, see it, open up, look it from my perspective. And it's like, it's in your face. It's her statement. It's her stand. She's trying to get through to Twilight, and it's so good. It is so good. I love it. Number 7, Friendship Always Wins, from the, I think, season, I want to say 8 premiere, or I believe. When the students come in and, with the school of friendship, I love it. It's the way to kick it off. It's when we got introduced to Student 6. It's, and it's the true statement. Friendship always wins at the end of the day. And seeing, again, all them interact and the characters as they go through the school and seeing it, I love that. I love the school of friendship concept, as you clearly know. I love the Student 6. I love it. I love that song. Number 6, and actually from an episode that I'm really not fond of. These next 2 songs are interestingly placed because I love the song I love the song itself. I hate the episode that it's in. Number 6, Best Friends Until the End of Time from All Bottled Up. I can't stand the episode because of Starlight holding in all this anger and all this stuff. And in the back, and in a side story, you have the main 6 in this escape room, and then Best Friends Till the End of Time comes on. And it's like, oh my gosh, this episode is terrible. And here's this awesome song. Like, this is... I love it. Again, bouncy, catchy, hearing how the main 6, mean so much to each other, hearing from each of their perspectives. So cool. And yet the episode was junk. Like, I don't know. But again, great song. Just don't like the episode it was in. Same with number 5, Flawless from Fame and Misfortune. That episode pains me every time I watch it, every time it's on. I loathe that episode with a passion. And not just because it was written by Larson, but it pains me with a passion. But Flawless is an outstanding song because, again, in a way, I think a lot of us can relate to it. We are not flawless. We're not perfect. We shouldn't be expected to be perfect. And we're always working, and just the flaws make us, who we are. So it's perfect in that regard. But again, I hate the fact that it's lower on this list because I can't stand the episode that it's in. So it's a kind of a distraction from the terrible episode that it's in. So that's why those 2 songs are lower on the list. Number 4, The Place Where We Belong. Student 6 from Uprooted. It's the only time the Student 6, I think, ever got a song of their own, and they weave it beautifully. And I know there's a lot of criticism on it. The student six can't sing. So what? I don't focus on their voices. I focus on what they're singing. I focus on the lyrics. I focus on what telling their story in song, telling it this way. I don't focus on the actual singing voices. I focus on what they're singing. And it is a beautiful way when they finally came together and realized they needed to remember the Tree of Harmony for what it is, not what it was. And when they came together and they show, how important it is in them, they were in, and remember the tree for what it is and the place where they belong. And it was just, it was so perfect. I loved it. I love it. It's definitely one of my absolute top 4 favorite songs. Absolutely. I love it. Number 3, it wouldn't be a top list without this one. Get your tissues ready. This is where the magic happens. It is, I guarantee now, anytime I hear it, I will cry. It is guaranteed to make me do that. I mean, it is just that emotional of a song. It is a perfect song to end the show. For the finale, it was perfect. So well done. There's not really much you can say about that one, about just how brilliant it is. It was just a fitting song to end the show, and it was so perfect. And the retrospective at the end with all the characters that they interacted with was perfect. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's a great song. I'm sure many people have that at their number 1, but there's a couple more that really hit me more because I really enjoy singing them, and they mean more on a personal level. But that definitely is a top choice for sure. Number 2, though, we're Friendship Bound from Road to Friendship. Starlight and Trixie. How can you not enjoy the connection and their friendship that those two have? And it's just and the reason is there's so many humorous moments throughout the song. There's so many subtle things that happen. It's funny when Starlight says right beforehand, thank goodness we're not like Twilight and the others. They're probably sing a song about it, and then cue them singing a song about it. Like it happens right after. And then as they as they ride in the wagon and then they land in the water, and the guy with the caravan is coming up, and it's like, my offer to trade caravan still stands. And Starlight's like, what are you saying? Tracy goes, nothing. That was just brilliant. Just the humor that's happening throughout the song. And then swinging through the jungle and all that. And then the little subtle nod at the end of the show when Trixie says for seasons yet to come, and Starlight goes for 9 at least. Like that little subtle nod, that was perfect. So it's a beautiful montage. It's a beautiful fun. It's a bouncy, fun song about having a friendship. And even though it's not, again, kind of like Flawless, it's not perfect. There's bumps along the way, but they make up for it in the end. And Starlight and Trixie was a perfect example of that. That relates to me and my friendship with Appledash and with Nate in so many different ways. Because we've had our share of bumps through the years, but we've made it work for 25 years and counting. So I can totally relate to that. So that's why I love that one so much. But the number 1, in my opinion, and it's not just because it's Spike singing it, and it's not just because I got to sing it at Windy City last year. Okay, maybe it is. A Changeling Can Change. I love that song so much. When I first hear those notes at the start, instant feels. Not only the fact that Spike, was able to stand up for Thorax in that moment in the episode, but just the message behind it. Don't judge somebody by its cover. Don't judge a book by its cover. Give others a chance. Give them a chance. And a changeling can change. People can change if they're willing to change. If they are willing to not be the stereotype that is put on them, they give them a chance. And that is seen every day in this country. So I think that relates in so many different ways, and it certainly relates to me that I think that this fandom gave me a chance, because I never thought that I could fit in it, and now here we are. So, so that's why it hits me on such a personal level. So that's why I have those two songs above This Is Where the Magic Happens, because they hit me more in a personal way. So that's why I have them where I have them. All right. Moving on to my updated character rankings. Now, these, of course, fluctuated a lot throughout the seasons as time went on. But I think this is where I'm content with having them for now until we get a new generation or new characters or what have you. I'm content with having these where they are at. It was definitely not easy to put this list together, I will say, considering I have so many favorites. This was very, very difficult to kind of separate, and rank one above the other. So it was very difficult, but I think I'm really happy with what I have. So let me first give my kind of honorable mentions for this list, the ones that just fell short of making the top 20. Lyra, it was hard to leave Lyra out because, Lyra for the longest time was like, I had like a really big crush. Like I was like, but I get, that this show had put her together with Bon Bon for so long. And eventually I kind of knew they were going to become, a bigger thing, a bigger deal. So I kind of like paid away from that a little bit. I still like Lyra a lot, but not well enough to make top 20. Bright Mac and Pear Butter just fell short. Princess Celestia and Luna, only because of the fact that, really, it's not that I don't like the personalities. It's just that when they needed to be called upon in a big moment in the show, except like for the very end, they really didn't do a whole lot. And Rainbow Dash mentioned as much in the season premiere of season 9 was like, if you really think about it, the princesses really like they don't help, like they don't do anything. So that was kind of a running gag. So for that reason, they're just outside the top 20. Big Mac, Sugar Bell, just outside the top 20 again, not because they don't have the personalities. It's just they weren't really profiled enough. They certainly, I think we could, we saw a nice story arc of them, but it didn't really leave too much of an impact on me to be like a full-on impact. The CMCs, I like the CMCs, but I don't see them at top 20 level. I mean, because again, you can't really separate one from the other. If I had to pick a favorite CMC, it'd be Scootaloo. But I feel like if you feel like I have to lump them together as a whole. And as a whole, I don't really feel like they're all, top 20 material. But Scootaloo on her own is definitely a favorite of mine. Thunder Lane was just missed it. Daring Do, Zakora, and also Rainbow Dash's parents, Bo Hot Hoof and Wendy Whistles. I really like their characters. I really, I wish we would have seen more of them in just the one episode. But because of that, there's also the top 20. But I really like their characters, and I really like their enthusiasm for their daughter. I really did like that. All right, number 20, Terramar. I from the moment I saw him in Surf Ender Turf, I really liked. I like the hippogriff designs. I do. I from the moment we even saw him in the movie, and to finally see one in the show. And this was even before Silverstream. So I really liked his character. Seeing him interact with the CMCs was really cool. I liked his voice. It was really neat. And it was cool that we got to see him, make a cameo appearance in the final season as well. We got to see Terramar again. And I never thought we'd see him again, because we hadn't seen him since Surf Ender Turf. But we then got to see him when Silverstream went missing. And then we had to, track her down. So that was cool. I liked that. Clearly, him and Silverstream have a very strong brother-sister relationship, and it's clear Is it brother or sister, or like cousin something? I don't know. It was one of the two. I think it was brother sister, but clearly the relationship in any family way is strong, and it's clear that Terramar genuinely cares for Silverstream, and of course for his family, because we saw that in Surf Under Turf when he was torn between the two worlds, or the two places on either Mount Eris or in Sequestria. So but just his personality was infectious to me. His voice was cool. I liked that in them. So I like Terramar. I was really good. Number 19 is Pharynx. Pharynx is definitely an interesting one. He definitely, the way that he was the one rogue changeling. He was one that, and of course it had to be Thorax's brother, that was not willing to, he was not willing to change. He was not willing to take on, he was still want to be this warrior. We're fighters. We're warriors. We used to be the baddest creatures in Equestria. We were a fierce army. We almost took over Canterlot. He was very much, the power, and he was the big, the leader of the army, and he was kind of holding on to that, and no one else. And then he went from being the one in charge to very much being an outsider, and he was holding on to being an outsider. He couldn't let that go, in a way, kind of like Chrysalis, except he wasn't really, it wasn't really like festering in his mind that he wanted to stay, a baddie. I mean, he did, but he just was holding on to that, and was not willing to change. But when and even though it backfired hilariously when Starlight and Trixie's plan to lure the Malwarf back to the hive and put the hive in danger, that kind of fueled Pharynx in a way to do anything for the hive, and he showed how much he loved the hive. And then in that moment, by showing that he was wanted, that they didn't want him to leave, that allowed him to open up. So. And he looked very similar to Thorax. It was unfortunate that we didn't really get to see, we didn't hear any more from Pharynx after that. We didn't get more of a story after that. We saw him, of course, in the finale, but we didn't really get any more from him after that. But it was good that we had that episode for us to get introduced to him. So I like him. I like Pharynx. Number 18, Brayburn. Oh gosh, Brayburn really grew on me over time. Like, his excitable personality, the Appaloosa, that just, I love that about him. He's energetic, and of course, after I read Vivid Syntax's book with, when he read Sensation, it made me like Brayburn more. And, granted, we only saw him after that episode. I think we only really saw him a couple other times, or even kind of in passing, but he was just so energetic. I loved his personality. That's what I like about his character. So that's why he's kind of lower on the list, because we didn't really get to see more of him, but I like Brayburn. Number 17 is Rarity, and this is where you'll really kind of start seeing like the main six like all in a row, because except for one, because I've always liked her a lot more. But Rarity to me has always been like my least favorite main six, and I it's not that I don't like all of them, I do, but I think just by default, like, because I think someone asked me at the panel last year, like, who, like, if I would rank the main six, like, who is my least favorite, and I think I just said Rarity by default, because she's always been the high style, high fashion kind of in that way. And I don't know. I just think that didn't just resonate with me as strong as the other ponies' personalities. So that's why she's kind of low on the list for me. But with that being said, it's not that I don't appreciate, Rarity's journey. I do. And then I applaud Rarity for what she did in the finale, when she, picked up the chunk of the castle and then blocked the baddies, shot it at Twilight with the rock. That was really awesome of her to do that. So Rarity certainly came a long way, and she's, accomplished a lot over the course of the show, as they all have. Excuse me. But it's just because of the fact that their personality doesn't jive with me as much as the others. That's why she's lower on the list. Number 16 is Fluttershy. And again, this is only because of the frustrating thing that there was never any consistency seen with Flutters. There would be times where she was bold in an episode, and then a few later she'd be of that shy nature again. And there would be one where she was completely, again, I hate to say the words, but again, out of character, be these complete different personalities where she was just being a grade A dick, fake it till you make it. And then other ones where she was great again. And there was just too much inconsistency in her character. And now, granted, it's not that she didn't have some great moments. She did. I can count, again, many examples. Again, Dragon Shy, Discordant Harmony. There have been numerous times, Fluttershy leans in. There were some great Fluttershy moments and Fluttershy episodes. But hell, I'll even go as far as, one of the worst episodes I hate, Sounds of Silence, with her and AJ. I'll go that far. But there were just others where it just seemed like she was just so outside her character. It didn't make sense to me. So that's why she's this low on the list, because of the inconsistency of her character. Number 15 is Pinkie Pie. Again, Pinkie, you gotta love the energy. You gotta love the energy of her. The laughter, the songs, the bounciness, all of that. But gosh, she's just a mystery wrapped inside an enigma, wrapped inside a riddle. There was just so many things that sometimes, and I know the running gag was always Pinkie Pie, don't question it. Like that was always the running gag throughout the whole, course of the show. And yeah, but there were times it's like, no, I want to question that. Like, how is that even possible? Like, how is that a thing? So because of that alone, I think it just opened up the door to like so many things. Like how is she able to do that? So I don't know. That's why she's a little bit further on down the list. Number 14 is Applejack. Again, not that I don't like the main six. I do. It's just that they are lower compared to some of the other characters in the show because they've had a bigger impact on me personally. But AJ certainly, again, has had her strong moments throughout the show. Clearly she showed that she's not honest all the time. We learned in, with the lying episode or Honest Apple, where she's just a little too honest, and then things like that. But she definitely has a personality. That is definitely, not to say the least. There's always something interesting happening with an AJ episode. You can't really fault it for that, unless she was clashing with Rainbow Dash, non-compete clause, fall with her friends, what have you. So there were those moments as well. But for the most part, she was fun. She's a fun character, and she's not a background pony. And I know that's a running gag too, but I don't think she's a background pony. I don't think that. Number 13 is Princess Twilight. And again, I know people might think, oh, that's such blasphemy. Not even having her in the top 10, the focus of the show. Hang on. Again, this is my list. She doesn't have much of a big of an impact as others in the show on me. So slow your roll. Look, I get it. Twilight is a huge character in the show. I get it. But again, it was kind of frustrating with her, because sometimes, again, she'd have to be beaten with the idiot stick, and she'd have to learn the same lesson, multiple times. I don't know. There were just some moments where it was completely out of character. And again, maybe that was, again, for the story or the plot of the show. We wouldn't have an episode, the old saying, we wouldn't have had an episode that didn't happen, which, I think happened at least a couple times. But for gosh sakes, there were, it had happened too much. It happened too much for comfort. But you got to admit, in this, she definitely came the longest way of the main six. She, from not even wanting to do anything with friendship at all to where she is now as ruler of Equestria. The arc itself is definitely incredible. What she had learned over the course of it was definitely incredible. I do not short her for that. Obviously, there's still a couple things I wish we could have seen more from her. I think with her parents for sure. We got a nice little snippet of Once Upon a Zeppelin, but or even Sparkle 7, but we could have seen maybe more from that. The one thing I always wanted to know was like, if Spike was really part of their family, like how did she get the egg? Where was that acquired? How did that come into play? So I was always curious about that. Maybe we'll see that in the comics. I don't know, but just something to think about. So I'm not discrediting her arc as a whole, but again, there's just some moments of inconsistency that or not continuity that didn't jive well with me. But she, in terms of the main six, she certainly is up there for me. That's for sure. Number 12, I don't think he's up here. He's upstairs. Number 12 is Soren. Again, now we're getting into Wonderbolts and whatnot, because I've been a Wonderbolts fan for so long. And again, it kind of ties into when I read Sensation. But Soren was always one of my favorite Wonderbolts. Anytime he was on the screen to show, anytime he even got a speaking role, I was excited. We knew from the Best Night Ever that his big thing was pies. That's Soren's big thing, and Rainbow Dash saved his pie from hitting the ground and that big thing. And she got to talk briefly to the Wonderbolts for a brief moment. And that we kind of knew that was her dream of becoming one. So, and then he had like a couple of the brief speaking moments. Of course, I think Rainbow Falls was his biggest moment, when he actually got to interact with Rainbow Dash, with the battle between flying for Ponyville or Cloudsdale, and then the whole thing with either with Soren's wing actually getting hurt, but Rainbow faking her injury to not make a choice. So that was a fun episode, and I think and Soren and some other speaking roles, Newbie Dash, when they all share their nicknames, and he says how he got his nickname of Clipper. So yeah, I grew to love his character, and even though it seemed like more like a laid back kind of chill personality, but that jives with me because I'm very laid back myself. So I guess that's why I gravitated towards Soren a little bit. So he just kind of like oozes cool in a way to me. So that's why I like Soren. But number 11, and who will always be my favorite Wonderbolt, well, not including another one that's yet to come, is Captain Spitfire. I love Spitfire. I think she is so, yes, she's intense because she has to be. She's a captain of the Wonderbolts. She's in that role for a reason. But man, anytime she was on screen, whether it's shouting at the recruits or encouraging the crew, she's still got a heart. Like she does care. It might not seem that way on the surface, but darn it, she does care about her team. She does care about the team. She cares about who makes it onto the squad. She had to get eventually convinced by Rainbow Dash that Lightning Dust was not who she thought she was. But she eventually does realize that, and she does realize the error of her maybe clouded judgment sometimes. But for me, the highlight for her is of course reenacting kind of the Chris Farley scene, with when you're in a full body wing and hoof cast, drinking through a straw to the Scootaloo. That was absolutely perfect. I love that scene. I love it. I could not get enough, but I watched it probably like 5 or 10 times after the episode aired. It was awesome. Spitz is always giving me my favorite. I love interacting with the Twitter ponies. Whoever does Spitz's account on the Twitter ponies is masterclass, because especially staying in character. Like whoever does it does an outstanding job. I love it. I rooted for her during the Canterlot 500 when I jumped into the Twitter pony world and was a spectator for that, and I got to take part in that. So that was fun. It's really cool. So I highly encourage it. So it is so much fun. But I love Captain Spitfire. All right, top 10. Number 10. Shining Armor, and mostly for sentimental reasons, because as I've said, the first episode that I ever stumbled upon of the show was Caterlot Wedding, and the first pony I ever saw on screen was Shining Armor when he was coming up to Twilight, and immediately, and I don't know what it was, again, whether it was just the design or what was going on in the episode or the personality or what have you. I got hooked right then and there. So I highly credit Shining Armor for me becoming a fan. And I know there have been many in the fandom, some reviewers Silver Quill, who thinks that, oh, Cadence and Shining Armor did nothing in the show. Well, yeah, we didn't really see them do a whole lot. And it's not that they're useless. The Royal Guard is more useless than Cadence and Shining Armor. We at least got to see them in a couple episodes, and probably my favorite from them, besides Sparkle 7, was Flurry of Emotions, where they let Twilight, I think, babysit Flurry Heart, and then the two of them kind of took a day off and from the hustle and bustle of babysitting, and they went out and they go to the art gallery, and they're looking at this, and Shining goes, "Is this art or a mistake?" And Kane goes, "I have no idea." Like it was just their facial expressions were awesome. So, and I like Shining Armor's personality, kind of a geeky, nerdy, kind of like me personality. I'll never forget when he came to visit, and Twilight set up his room, with all the different stuff he liked, and so he was, and the facial expressions were priceless. And then at the end, he's swinging Twilight around the room. I smile at that every time, so that makes you feel good. So thank you, Shining Armor, for being you and being awesome, and for getting me hooked in the show, because I have that character to thank for that. Number 9. Tempest Shadow, also known as Fizzle Pop Berry Twist. I will always know her as Tempest, though. From the moment she came on screen in the movie, like I'm thinking, oh snap, this is going to be one of the toughest villains we've ever seen. Number 1, and then just anytime she came on screen, at first you were in for a fight, and then you see how the Storm King. She was so loyal to the Storm King, and she thought, she had a fair trade-off. She gets what the Storm King wants, and in return, he fixes her horn. That's really, she thought she had a fair trade-off. But kind of like Discord trusting T-Rex and hoping he had true friendship, that's what Tempest thought. Tempest always sought out friendship. Like, she always wanted an ally, someone she could respect, especially once she lost her friends when she was younger because her horn was broken. And she longed for that acceptance and a true ally. And she thought she had this with the Storm King. But when she later found out, oh no, I only used you because I wanted all the power, that right there, and not believing then what Twilight said, no, that's not the way that you get a friend or an ally. There's another way to do it. In that moment, Tempest knew that she had to pick the right path, and thankfully she did, and she was willing to change. And clearly, as we saw when she made the cameo appearance in the finale, clearly she did what Twilight said she did in the premiere. She wanted to spread what she had learned all throughout Equestria. Well, clearly that paid off. So I have a high amount of respect for Tempest and what she became. So that's why she has a big place in my heart. Number 8, one of the very first characters I ever liked in the show, Spiky Wikey. I mean, Spike has always been, and again, and maybe, he's a dragon, and I've always liked dragons, and that's why he resonated with me so strongly right away. But just from the outset, his character, how he was so loyal and faithful to Twilight, or even to AJ and Spike at your service, or to Princess Spike, he took that a little too far. Anytime it was a Spike episode, I was glued to the TV. I was really looking forward to it. And just seeing how his character would develop. And then, with the molt down, and finally for so long, we were wondering when he's going to get his wings. And it finally happened. That was awesome. He had just come so far, not really as a far arc as Twilight was, but certainly in a very, very similar vein. And now having these 2 major roles, again, as I mentioned, in Equestria, he did come a long way. And again, Sparkle 7, one of the probably best episodes I've ever seen, when he pulled off that elaborate plan to get the crown. That was just absolutely insanely brilliant. So I'm still amazed as to how he pulled that off. So kudos indeed. Spike was just so fun to watch. And and will forever have a place in my heart for sure. Number 7, King Thorax. The changelings. I as soon as they, and the funny thing was, like, again, I saw the changelings first in the Kinderlot wedding and when they invaded. But even when they were in that style, like, is it bad that I didn't really view, outside of Chrysalis, I didn't really view the changelings as like villains? Like, granted, Chrysalis was the leader, and yeah, she is the one that really wanted to take over and have power in Canterlot. But it seems to me like the others, like, it makes you wonder, like, had she been successful, like, what was then their job going to be after the fact? Like, and it always made me wonder this, because we saw with Ocellus when the Student 6 had to overcome their fears and she turned into Chrysalis. It made me wonder, like, how close was she to becoming like the next heir to the throne? Like, how close was she to taking over Chrysalis's spot or being a high-ranking official in Chrysalis's court if Chrysalis ever got to power? It really, that's flare gun level of thinking. That's really something to think about too, because I always wondered about that, considering why would Ocellus turn into Chrysalis if she, not only was she haunted by her past, but if she wasn't as very close to her as some of the others. So really made me wonder about that. But Thorax was not of that. You even see, as the invasion is happening, you see when Thorax is telling his story, you see the look on his face of just, no, this is not where I want to be. I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be, this hateful creature. I want friendship. He actually, just kind of like Tempest, he longed for friendship. And when he finally found Spike, someone, who was, willing to at least hear what he had to say, that opened up a whole opportunity. And then Spike standing up for him with that song and then enabling him to be welcomed by the Crystal Empire and everyone else. And then finally, in that moment where he stands up to the hive and says, we've been eating love all these years. Why don't we give it for once and just let it all out? And then finally he does, and the hive is destroyed, and Chrysalis is defeated, and he becomes the new king of the hive. Who else, fitting that he would take over? So, and then completely the other changelings get reformed along the way. So it was well deserved. It was a great story arc. It was a great moment, and Thorax's just goofy personality. Anytime I see him, my favorite part to see him was in Triple Threat when he interacted with I guess this kind of leads into number 6, because that's Dragon Lord Ember. And because the interaction that they had in that episode was just so great, and seeing them on screen together with Spike, that's why Triple Threat's one of my favorite episodes ever in the series, because the interaction among them was just so awesome. And seeing Thorax and Ember talk to each other in that moment, sharing the struggles that they had to lead a kingdom. Thorax is like, I'm not, they don't respect me yet. It's not. And Ember's like, we need to be more assertive, need to be more aggressive, and lay down the rules. You're the leader for a reason. You need to show them why you're the leader. You need to be more assertive with them. Instead of just saying, please, you got to be, you got to lay down this. If this is what it is, this is what it is. And then Thorax assuring Ember, it's okay to talk about your feelings. You don't have to, keep it all in. Just let out how you feel. Don't be afraid. You don't have to be all mushy. You don't have to be all mushy all the time either. Just let out how you feel. Don't be afraid to keep that in and hold that back. As you later saw with Starlight and all bottled up. It's like, don't be afraid to let those feelings out. And Ember just, again, the arc that she took, the fact that she had to literally go behind her father's back, like, after Torch was ready to hand off the power in the episode where, and it's now drawing a blank to me. I know the episode, but I can't. Gauntlet of Fire. Thank you. Gauntlet of Fire. Thank you, brain. Gauntlet of Fire. Where Ember has to go behind her father's back because her father will not allow her to compete because she is small. She is a tiny dragon. But again, Torch is only judging by the outside. He's not judging by her inner strength, her heart, her desire, her intensity. Very much seen in Spike. That's why they got along so well, because they share those qualities. And Ember was willing to do whatever to try to win the gauntlet. And then she teams up with Spike, and immediately they form this really good bond. And of course, Ember still is very hesitant to friendship first, because like she said, dragons don't do friends. Dragons are very much, they're on their own. They're, one for all for one. It's all for themselves in the Dragonlands. But Spike's like, well, this dragon does, and I will. And then the more Ember sees how much Twilight and Rarity, they're in disguise, the lengths they go to protect Spike, Ember's like, you know what? Maybe this is the right way after all. And she starts to really see that. And then she admits, I was wrong. I shouldn't have left you back there. I shouldn't have left you behind. We are friends. And then they start working together, and they shut Garble down. And the Ember battling Garble in that whole moment for Spike to get the scepter was awesome. But then Spike, being the brave and generous and noble that he is, says, no, you, Ember, need to take the scepter. You need to have it in your possession, because not only will you make the Dragonlands a better place, but now you've gained Equestria, an ally that, you're going to protect my home just as much as you make your home a better place. So Spike knew, excuse me, Spike knew in that moment that he was putting the Dragonlands in the right clause. He knew right then and there. And Ember, and then after we see her, after she, takes the power, she is a firm leader, but she's still very much, kind of like, I don't know how to say it. I don't know the word I want to use, but she's very determined. She knows, like, when she has an opinion, like, she thinks it's right, because it was funny that she confused Twilight and Starlight for the same pony. Like, you're both purple ponies with purple hair. Like, she was so convinced that she was right, or just she's very overwhelmed by being in Ponyville so much and all the shiny things and everything. I like that about Ember. I like that she was trying hard to learn about being in a different place. By the same token, still looking out for the Dragonlands, and any interaction she had was fun. So that's why I like both Thorax and Ember, because their interactions with the characters were so great to watch. So that's why they're high up on my list. Thorax at 7 and Ember at 6. Top 5, number 5, good old Goofy Sunburst. And it's not just because I met Ian Hamlin at Winnie City. Okay, I guess partially it kind of is, but I just found his character so, again, it reminds me of myself. Kind of the goofball and nerdy. Liking all the things. Trying to during the trivia episode where he's trying to keep his perfect, I guess, correct answer percentage streak alive. Kind of gives Twilight a dose of humble pie of her own medicine when he's not letting her answer the questions after she ditched Pinkie Pie the way she did. That was a smooth move. Of course, his relationship with an interaction with Starlight, which of course I shipped him from the very beginning. And it was nice to see them in the end, that they both, work at the school together, with Starlight running the school and Sunburst being, I guess, vice stallion, if you will, is just perfect. Just great character, great seeing him on screen, great when he interacted with Starlight. It was perfect all around. I love Sunburst. Great character. Great character. Number 4 is Rainbow Dash. Again, the first pony I ever liked. Spike was certainly the first character I ever liked from the show, but Rainbow Dash was really the first pony I ever liked. And again, I loved her confidence. I loved her confidence, her swag, the attitude. Hi, Joshua. Been a while. Good to see you again. I liked her. I liked her swag. I liked her style. Everything about her. It just gravitated with me. And whether it was being the element of loyalty. Oh, that's cool, Joshua. It's all right. Hey, I'm sure you can catch up. I've talked about a lot of different things. I'm kind of in the latter part of the show now, but it's all well and good. That's what catching up's for. once it goes live on, or once it goes on the channel. But right now I'm just talking about my favorite top character rankings. But no, I like Dash from the start. She was, again, one of the main six that jumped out to me right away. And again, it was just the fact that she was so loyal, or again, the sporty personality. Probably what made me the most was the fact that she was such a big, sports pony and was always excited about stuff that she was passionate about. And so that just struck a chord with me right away. And the fact that she was just a good flyer and, wanted to be a Wonderbolt, which then let me like Wonderbolt so much. So that really just kind of struck me on a big level with her. The Sonic Rainboom episode, the fact that her Rainboom led to really the main six coming together. Cutie Mark Chronicles is definitely one of my favorite episodes of all time. So the fact that happened and led to that was just perfect. So she always, struck a chord with me, and that's why she's so high up on the list. So she is number 4 on the list. Now, these next 3 should be of no surprise to anyone if you really don't know me, or if you can't tell by this picture on the wall, or that picture on the wall, or that picture on the wall, then you probably have an idea of who my top 3 are. And then really these 3 shuffle and change all the time, but I figured I'd put them in this order because that's how they resonate with me. Number 3 is Ocellus. I mentioned the changelings, and I mentioned, how much they, had an impact on me with the Thorax and the Hive. But, again, and Ocellus being the smart one of the group of the student 6, the one with all the knowledge, the one with, it's very intelligible. That relates to me because I was always the smart kid in school. I was the one that, anytime someone needed help or, an answer, or something with what anything, let's ask the smart kid, it's, he's the smartest kid in school, I got that all the time. So I can relate to that. But just, again, her dedication to her schooling, her dedication to her friends, her just the way she approached things, it really resonated with me. It really hit me hard, and I really like that about Ocellus. Plus, she's just adorable, and the fact that she could, again, change into anything and do it, that was awesome. So I really liked Ocellus from the start. Number 2 is Smolder. Again, the dragons, I've always liked them, but Smolder was, a lot of times I love the fact that Smolder was like the voice of reason. Like in many of the episodes, she was the one that, she told Spike about the molt and Molt Down. She stood up for him in Father Knows Beast. She forgot to say, she stood up to Rainbow Dash in 246 Great because, she's like, you're the one that is awesome all the time and the things you care about. But maybe that when she said, I wish one of those things was us, like, that's a shot. That's a shot to the heart. But she told it like it is. She wasn't afraid to tell it like it is. And she had a lot of, also a lot of great episodes as well. And the fact that finding out that Garble was her brother, that was a lot to take in at first, but in the end, I guess I eventually thought it was all right. I didn't mind it too much. So, but I liked her personality. She came such a long way. From, again, when she complained to Ember about being at the school, like, why am I here? She was not thrilled about it. She was, teaming up with Gallus, like, we're too good for this place, to then eventually in the finale telling the Dragonlands, like, yeah, it seems like, that, accepting differences, when she was talking to them about Garble, like, yeah, we point out how different we all are because we're dragons and we like to make fun of that. But I've seen that, being accepting of it is actually the way to go. And then when all 6 of the students were bringing all the races back together or coming together and saying, yeah, they need our help. They need to, to do this. Smolder was the one that spoke out and stood up, and I applaud her for that. So I love that about her character. I adore it. But number one, if you know me, you know this, Starlight Glimmer. I mean, I can't take her until some character or pony comes better that can take her down from that number 1 spot. She's not going to leave it. I was just so impressed with her complete 180. It inspired my panel. It inspired me to do the panel on the changing character perspectives. She was the reason for that, and just her complete turnaround and then her whole story arc was just amazing to follow. From being Twilight's pupil to then being the student counselor to then thriving in that role and then taking on her new role. Like any time it was a Starlight episode, I was glued to the television. I was looking forward to seeing it. Saving the world together with Trixie and Thorax and Discord. That was awesome. I rarely did a Starlight episode really disappoint me, except a matter of principle. But that's only because it was mostly Discord being a grade A jerk, or maybe even occasionally all bottled up. But aside from a few minor things, there was hardly a Starlight episode that disappointed me. So I loved seeing her character develop. I loved seeing it grow. And like I said, until anyone can try to challenge that top spot, she's not going to be leaving that top spot anytime soon. So very, very much impressed. So that is my updated character ranking list. Okay, one more quick thing before I wrap up. I know I've talked for nearly 2 hours. Holy cow. But I knew this was going to be a long one. So one more quick thing. Fantasy football. As I'm sure you can tell by the sign, if you can't really quite read it, it says championship time. Go Gators. That means my fantasy football team this year is going to the championship this week. We are playing for a title this week. So, yeah, that is going to be very exciting. Yes, Joshua, I did notice that. I already briefly talked about that earlier. Yes, I did notice they took down the Pony Life trailer. So, yes, I did. And I did make a couple comments on that earlier in the video. Yes, so I did notice that. So I found that very, very interesting. Yes. And I said they could probably go going all different directions. Either they're going to change it up in response to the fan outcry. Switch it up all, switch it up altogether or just scrap it. So that's there's a number of different directions they could go in, but yeah, the song probably was the main issue. Yes. And I say that as much. I said the first thing that took me back was them mouthing the word hell. So yes, that was the big thing that took me back. So yeah, that probably was it. But no, my fantasy team has been crushing it this season. 11-4 record. So we are playing for a title this week. Appledash and Matt and I are all really excited for that, and we're looking forward to it. Anytime we scored over 100 points, we win. Like, we're perfect scoring over 100 points. We put up a team record this past week with 143. So our roster's just crushing it. We're hoping to keep that momentum up this week. We've got a pretty good roster going in. So the opponent we're facing, we lost to earlier back in week 6. But that's because we lost 2 players due to injury. So we had 2 guaranteed zeros, and everyone else kind of underwhelmed. But he doesn't have the same roster he did then, nor did we. Only 4 players that were on that roster that week are on our team now. So a lot of changes happened since then. And the guy that we're playing only averages 95 points a week. We average over 100. We've only had 4 instances where we didn't score 100 points. So we do that on a weekly basis. So we're excited about that. I don't know if we'll do anything in the lead up to that or not. We'll see. But I'm sure we'll do like a full season recap. We usually do a fantasy season recap at some point down the line, or we do like an awards thing where we hand out honors to the players that did well for us. So we might do that. We'll see. But we're excited for that. And obviously, I'm just excited for more what's to come in the coming year on the channel. So next month, next ATSD, which will be episode 40. My gosh, I've done this for a long time now. That'll probably be the second week of January. We'll get back to like the schedule where it's the second and fourth of each month. So that'll be probably second week of January. Tracking the Madness will be coming back in January. And we'll also do the NHL All-Star Weekend stream as well in January when that happens in St. Louis as well. I know that was immensely popular the last time I did it as well. And then also in February, of course, we'll have a Super Bowl party stream again. So that will be coming up as well. So that's really what's upcoming. And I think that is where, after nearly 2 hours, I'm going to wrap this one up. So thank you so much for tuning in, for the support. It means so much that for those of you who are sticking around, you understand why I'm scaling things back a little bit. Again, I just don't want to, end up like, so many other YouTubers that are, kind of scaling back due to burnout. Like, I don't want that to happen to me. So please be understanding of that. And I'm just, I'm going to try to keep putting out as much as I can without going overboard. That's really my main goal. Because, I do enjoy doing this. I do, but I don't want it to come at the expense of me feeling like, on a weekly basis. So I don't want that to happen. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. And until the next stream, probably will be in January. I will see you then next time. Spiky Dash signing off. Have a great rest of your night and your week, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you.